Welcome to the Civic Brief with Dr. Isaiah Ike Wilson III, where complex issues meet everyday lives. Now, let's begin.
Nelson Mandela once said, "I'm not a saint unless you think of a saint as a sinner who keeps on trying." It happened on one of those nights where the quiet weighs heavier than the dark. I had just returned from a panel on national security transitions and compound threats, my mind still pacing the stage, when sleep finally overtook me, not gently, but with urgency. I don't remember laying down, only that suddenly I was no longer alone. He was standing in front of my old writing desk, calm, upright, radiating that quiet kind of gravity reserved for those who have been broken, mended, and then chosen to lead nonetheless. It was him, Nelson Mandela, Madiba. I was compelled to speak to him first. I said to him, "America is fraying. We've become a nation of verdicts without trials, of enemies made from neighbors, and of reckoning without redemption. We are good at grievance now, but terrible at grace." Mandela reminded me that division is older than democracy. Injustice is not new, but neither is renewal. He had seen unraveling before. South Africa, he said, was a state before it was a nation. Bodies together, but souls apart. When they finally negotiated freedom, not as liberation, but dignity, vengeance was tempting. Many had lost everything. Why didn't he? Because they had already lost too much. He knew the blood of the past had to speak, but not to rule. He told me about 1995, the Rugby World Cup. Just 1 year into his presidency, he put on the Springboks jersey, a symbol of white supremacy to many Black South Africans. He wore it not because it was comfortable, but because the nation was watching. That gesture didn't erase apartheid, but it did redefine the future. And yet, he admitted, even now, South Africa's progress is under siege again. Corruption, inequality, disillusionment. Reconciliation is not a finish line. It's maintenance, sacred maintenance. Then we turn to America's version of apartheid, not in name, but in function. Post-truth tribalism, racialized economics, geographic splintering, ideological absolutism. This is our compound era of insecurity. Threats converging across geopolitical, technological, economic, and environmental fault lines. And the enemies of democracy don't always wear uniforms. They don't always hold office. Mandela asked me, in your struggle, who's the prisoner? And who is the jailer? And who built the bars? I had no good answer. We talked about reconciliation. In South Africa, they built the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. Victims spoke, perpetrators confessed. Not all, but enough. Here in the US, we often conflate reconciliation with absolution. We want justice to punish our enemies, and when it doesn't, we call it betrayal. But Mandela taught justice without reconciliation is revenge. Reconciliation without justice is denial. They must walk together, like two legs of the same journey. Germany's denazification, Rwanda's unity villages, Chile's constitutional renewal. Each different, but each required truth-telling, reform, and moral imagination. I asked him, what if this is all too soon? America's fever hasn't peaked. The rage, the contempt, it's still growing. Maybe reconciliation feels premature. Shouldn't we wait until after the reckoning? Mandela paused. Then he said to me, "You think reconciliation is the reward after the storm. No, it's the courage you find during it." They told him he was too forgiving, too eager to make peace with those who had beaten, caged, and killed. But he knew, without a vision of the nation beyond the prison walls, the prison would become the nation. He told me, "You are not naive to speak of healing in a time of fracture. You are dangerous to those who profit from fracture. Speak it anyway." Before he left, if he was ever really there at all, he offered lessons I now pass to you. On forgiveness. Forgiveness is not forgetting. It is choosing to live free from wounds others inflicted. On leadership. If your leaders are afraid to lose power, they're already powerless. On rebuilding. The institutions, not the republic. The republic is the people. Always start there. On enemies. Resist the urge to make monsters. The longer you fight shadows, the less you see the path ahead. And on hope. Hope is not a mood. It's a discipline. You must practice it, especially when it feels foolish. When I awoke, there was no sign of him, only the quiet again. But this time it felt different. As if the past had visited the future, not to haunt it, but to hand it a compass. His final words still echo. The work is not to punish what came before. The work is to build what comes next. If you want your republic to survive, make forgiveness a strategy, not just a sermon. Justice without mercy is tyranny of another kind. Reconciliation is the most dangerous act of courage left to you. Take it up. If this walk with Mandela stirred something in you, continue with me. Subscribe to Compound Security Unlocked into this podcast, The Civic Brief. Join our travelers community and learn more about our work at Wilson Wise Consulting. Mandela's life reminds us, no nation is fated for collapse, just as no person is fated to remain a prisoner. What matters is not only what we remember, but how we act in the remembering. Let the truth be told, let justice be real, and let reconciliation begin. Not as a closing chapter, but as a republic's next breath. Together, always, for nation, not self.
Thanks for tuning into the Civic Brief. Got questions, insights, or ideas? Join us at thecivicbrief.com to continue the dialogue. Subscribe, share, and be part of shaping the future, one brief at a time.